Monsieur le professeur, vous êtes un scientifique extrêmement reconnu, membre de l'Académie des sciences, professeur au Collège de France, vous êtes titulaire de la chaire des processus biologiques. Vous avez donc un programme de travail très dense, très chargé, et pourtant, vous avez pris le temps, en pleine période Covid, d'écrire un livre publié, Catastrophisme, les vérités de la transition énergétique chez Flammarion. Alors la question que j'ai envie de vous poser, c'est pourquoi vous étiez très en colère, vous étiez fatigué d'entendre sur les télés en continu le fait que l'homme est une espèce redoutable pour la planète, ou encore que la nature nous envoie un signal avec le Covid, ou alors vous étiez inquiet parce qu'une partie de la jeunesse sombrait dans le pessimisme avec le confinement. Bref, qu'est-ce qui fait que vous avez pris le temps, l'énergie d'écrire ce livre?
Alors la colère, non.
Anger, not really. I try to avoid this feeling because it's not very productive.
Je dirais qu'il y a deux raisons.
There are probably two reasons.
Rejoint vos interrogations. La première, c'est d'abord
goes back to what you were asking. Firstly, is because I'm a specialist of energy questions. I spend my life with students, researchers, as well at the Collège de France to talk about complex questions such as storing intermittent energies, the question of artificial photosynthesis, things like that. I'm saying that so that you listen to me as well, and I'm also the chairman of the energy section of the Science Academy.
Qu'il était nécessaire
de
préciser les choses sur la transition énergétique, préciser les choses de façon scientifique, rigoureuse, avec des chiffres, parce que je constatais que beaucoup de gens parlaient de cette question, souvent sans avoir la moindre idée des ordres de grandeur, sans connaître, en simplifiant beaucoup trop une question compliquée. Et donc, de fait, quand on est dans cette situation-là, on entend des tas de choses qui sont fausses, pas fondées dans les médias et dans le discours même du politique. Donc c'était la première raison. La deuxième raison, vous avez pointé l'affaire, c'est que tout ça se passait dans une ambiance en effet catastrophiste qui consistait d'une part, alors dans ce catastrophisme, il y a plusieurs choses. La première, c'est qu'en effet, la fin du monde est dans
the end of the world is in a few years' time. We heard Nicolas Hulot say so. We heard, I can't remember the name of the person.
Fred Vargas, sorti un bouquin qui a fait un tabac pour nous dire que en 10 ans, il y aurait 3 milliards de morts sur la planète,
saying that there would be 3 billion people on the planet, and nobody asked where the information came from. And so people get worried, and especially young people. Second aspect of this doom-mongering is everybody is saying nothing is happening with climate change, and so we have to find scapegoats. So it's the affaire du siècle in France.
Les lobbies
it's lobbies
empêchent la transition.
Stopping.
Donc j'ai voulu et en effet, comme vous le dites, au fond,
the transition, the energy transition. And as you said, people just stop trusting mankind, science, knowledge. I heard it recently on the radio, a young person who was part of this movement, and he was asked the question, well, what studies are you doing? And he said, well, there's no point studying today in this context. I learned far more from working in a field, growing vegetables.
Un peu d'optimisme,
so I wanted to give some optimism again,
rationalité,
some rationalism as well.
Attaqué,
it's a word that is attacked. Some would probably
mettre en avant la radicalité plutôt que la rationalité.
Prefer to be radical rather than rational. But anyway, I wanted to bring back the trust in the capacity of mankind to solve problems, including man-made problems. Who, other than people on the planet, to solve the problems that we created? So some trust, and then
en sortant des discours technophobes, avoir confiance
get out of technophobic speeches. Trust research, innovation in universities, fundamental research centers, but also technological, industrial research in companies. Because today, and this is what you have to explain to people, the energy revolution is not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a long time. Of course, you can always say that it's not fast enough, but there are some technical and scientific constraints, and it's only knowledge, increasing the knowledge and the research that will lead to solving the questions. So that's my message.
Je suis profondément convaincue qu'il y a urgence à remettre les scientifiques dans la cité et dans l'espace public,
scientists back in the midst of things, to better link science and policies. If we agree with this, and probably the participants here might agree with you, how can we do this? Do we have to organize tech tours? Do we have to take
comprendre ce que c'est que la recherche,
leaders and politicians to explain what research is all about? How do you convince French people of the importance of public and private research? We see that some countries that look like us manage much better in their investment in research. It's not so difficult for them. So how have we got to this? How is it so difficult to invest in research? And do we have a slightly romantic vision of research with a lone researcher with a chalk and a blackboard, and we forget about all the equipment?
But again, there are several questions here. First,
science et démocratie.
Science and democracy.
Le lien entre les sciences et la science et les
the
politiques.
link between science
ça, je dois dire que c'est une question également d'une très grande complexité qui m'obsède depuis longtemps et pour lequel malheureusement pour les auditeurs aujourd'hui, je n'ai pas la solution miracle. Pourquoi? Parce que, au fond, j'ai envie de penser que les scientifiques ont une connaissance d'un certain domaine et doivent pouvoir mettre à disposition des citoyens, des politiques, ces connaissances. Cela dit, ces connaissances deviennent de plus en plus compliquées. La question énergétique, par exemple,
and for
question
instance,
médicale qui est beaucoup traitée aujourd'hui, mais
energy, or we could also
toutes
talk
ces questions-là sont d'une très grande complexité. Donc, on
very
facilement vers un système dans lequel ce sont une toute petite partie des citoyens qui savent et qui doivent donner leur point de vue, et les autres doivent accepter cette position. Évidemment, c'est pas le monde que j'espère. Mais néanmoins, voilà, on a cette difficulté-là. Le deuxième aspect, c'est le fait que si on veut vraiment une société démocratique, malgré tout, il faut que le citoyen acquiert un certain nombre de connaissances. Et je dois dire qu'on bascule à ce moment-là sur la question de l'éducation, de la formation tout au long de la vie sur des questions scientifiques fortes. Donc je pense que là, il y a des efforts à faire. Et puis, cette éducation d'ailleurs et cette formation, à la fin, elle s'appliquera à nos représentants politiques.
Politicians or people who represent us
chaque fois assez étonné de la faible culture scientifique qu'on a chez nos dirigeants.
When I see that our leaders, political leaders, have very little scientific knowledge. So we don't want to wait for the next 20 years for children who are currently going to elementary school to become politicians. No, but someone called Hervé Lebras, whom you may know, a demographist, he carried out an analysis and he looked at the number of doctors actually involved in governments across the planet, across the globe. And it was 7 years ago, and think of who was the president at the time. There was a ranking, the country where they had the highest number of doctors actively involved in the government.
Bon, c'était la Chine.
It was China.
Et quel est le pays où il y en avait zéro?
And what was a country where there was zero physicians involved in the government? France. Absolutely, it was France.
Donc la question de l'éducation et de la culture scientifique.
So education and scientific culture are a very important topic.
voilà, mon analyse de la situation, c'est que
But if you want me to tell you how I see things, I think we are very, very ambiguous on the matter. I was one of those who defended,
de la création du conseil scientifique,
who advocated in favor of creating a scientific council. And I was very happy when the President of the Republic set up a scientific council to find help and support during the pandemic. And I was in favor of it. Some people said, oh, come on, it's just DIY. But I believed it worked. It worked well because the scientists played their role. I'm not talking about those who were eager to go to be on TV and tell the story. I'm talking about those who remained behind the curtains but provided the President with political, scientific advice and sometimes actually had to go through the crisis. And there is an institution that I defend because I'm a member, and I can really vouch for the fact that it is a very good institution. We really work hard. The Science Academy. There are countries where the governments rely much more on science academies. Science Academy is not a place for elderly people to gather and have drinks. It really is a serious institution, and I believe that there are academies across France that could be put to better use. And not everybody agrees with me, but I have supported this opinion in my book and also in the media. I believe that the Citizen Convention for the Climate is at the opposite, leading French people to believe that a scientific matter such as the energy issue can be solved by asking the opinion of 150 citizens who have been randomly chosen. That is the opposite of what we should do. Okay, a government may do both, use academics and academies and citizens chosen at random. We have not yet decided, but it's very difficult. I know that you have insisted on the fact that we need to invest in research and we really have to base ourselves on scientific progress and innovation. On the other hand, you're very much in favor of changing behavior in the field of environment and health. But before people change their behavior, isn't there a danger that we are going to support catastrophism and catastrophic opinions? Well, I'm sorry, I skipped the second part of the question, but yes, I believe we do need to invest in research and innovation. Trouble is, people don't know what research is, and so we need to keep explaining, and we as scientists must explain this to everybody. We don't have time here to discuss this, but it was actually part of your previous question. Now, regarding your question, nowadays we say we have to blow the whistle. I think we've blown the whistle already. Everybody is aware. Everybody is already mobilized. People say nothing has been done. We're only taking small steps. No, we're not. We're taking giant steps with a number of limitations. The whistle has been blown. Climate skeptic people have become a minority, but they're still there. And catastrophism, which is now pervading all layers of society, is still there. We have a few years ahead of us, and we could be tempted to say, okay, let's protect ourselves for a few years and then it will be over. No, this catastrophism, because it also carries in its wake a sense of emergency, will make us take decisions on actions that have not yet been sufficiently weighed. We have not considered their positive and negative impact. So we sort of go ahead without thinking, because we have a number of prejudices on some technologies, and we go forward without thinking. And sooner or later, we will realize that the catastrophe never happened, except that we spent a lot of money on things that were not thoroughly analyzed. I can understand that people are anguished and worried. But, you know, young people are so concerned with this. I mean, they think our future is at stake. But rather than thinking they should not study, I encourage them to study and come and work with me in my laboratory to help me solve unsolved questions. There are many unsolved questions, unanswered questions. And I don't want them to do it with a big smile on their face thinking everybody's perfect. No, absolutely not. But who else can prepare to solve the questions in the future apart from our young generation?